harnessing your anxiety. There's that song, isn't there? My anxiety
Exactly, yes.
watches me. Instead of watching your anxiety, what about if you watched your
anxiety. And you could watch it from a different position, like almost as if you were some kind of an observer, a neutral observer, observing yourself.
A fly on the wall.
Yes, and all the actions that your anxiety, makes you take, or the actions that, you're like, how can I say? I'm lost for words at the moment. Help me.
The anxiety.
Out,
Instead of allowing the anxiety to take hold of you,
Yeah.
you grab the anxiety and take hold of it.
Yeah, so you're harnessing
it and you're becoming powerful because of it.
Wow.
Instead of in spite of it.
Well done. Yeah, that is
So
powerful.
you're using your anxiety as if it was energy to thrust you forward into
almost
doing
like a wild,
and becoming what you want to do and become.
Powerful beast,
Yes.
while you were doing that movement with your hands, you were like harnessing, like she was like holding her two hands, like she was holding, the horse's
muscle.
The muscle.
The reins.
I'm sort of like, can't. It's afternoon podcast and I'm like, gone into some kind of nap mode. Anyway, yeah, like you're holding on to the reins, or like holding on to the reins on those dragons that you see in these, in these films, and
become powerful because of it.
Because of it, you can harness that dragon, which could be like your anxiety. You can fly with it, and imagine the power that'll give you.
Exactly.
Instead of feeling destroyed and upset and overwhelmed and awful because of your anxiety, you're harnessing your anxiety to use it to your advantage.
And that's what we're going to be talking about in this week's episode of Get Real with the English Sisters. We are therapists and we're here to help you. So harnessing the power. I always see it as like those solar panels you have.
Yes.
So if
just got lots of them actually for the garden.
Just your anxiety, imagine your anxiety going into one of those and giving you energy. Instead of depriving you of energy. It's actually giving you energy to do things.
To be able to see it at night.
Yeah.
Because we've installed them now in the garden on the little garden pathway, and it was always so dark there.
Yeah.
But now with these lovely little, they're not little, they're like lampposts, but they've got the solar energy on the top. Now at night we have energy, and we have the pathway is lit up, so that we can just walk through it easly without falling over or anything.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's good. And so that in the same way, you can, like what you were saying.
Well, you don't have to trip up on your anxiety. You can use it to give you light,
to light your path in your life.
You know what? I think the people that do suffer from anxiety, usually it means because you're quite an empathetic person. And you do understand other people, don't you? And you're like, you're really in touch with your emotions. So that is, being in touch with your emotions and understanding people is like a superpower. So you can use that to your advantage instead of allowing your anxiety maybe to I don't know how it affects you, to be a curse,
like
or
say,
make you freeze.
I'm cursed with anxiety. Yeah. No, it can be also seen as a blessing in this case, yes, because it can be a form of energy. If we think about it, a lot of these very creative people in the past, even people like Steve Jobs and that, they've all suffered from anxiety. But instead of seeing it just as a curse, they've used it to fuel their creativity, or in spite of it, they managed to go on.
Exactly.
Even with this great bouts of anxiety. So if we do think about it as the opposite of a curse, and we can say, yes, I am an anxious person, what can I do? I can use it. as
you
a form
can
of
also-
energy.
Well, yeah, and so you can turn it around and say, okay, I'm feeling anxious about this, but I'm still going to do it, and I'm just going to do it maybe a bit slower. You might need to ask for help,
Yes.
but you can get through it and use it, and you can probably see things a bit different to what the people around you can see. You have a different perspective on life usually when you do suffer from anxiety.
Yes.
Which can help you.
It can feel overwhelming, but it can also help you. Yes, and we do know this exactly. Yes, you are right. It can also
And it can also encourage you to say, like, study or learn something new, because if you're anxious about something, someone that doesn't suffer from anxiety might just say, oh, I'm just going to go and do that anyway. But,
yeah, I just wing it.
yeah, wing it. But if you do, you might be more, you might have the eye to curate something,
to feel that you're not quite competent
Yeah.
at that, and then go and study a little bit more for it, and then you'll become, it becomes part of you, like almost like an unconscious competence, as to say, you become very competent at it at an unconscious level, where it's just easy for you to perform that task because you were anxious at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So sometimes, being anxious isn't necessarily...
No, it's not necessarily a bad thing or something that you can't use to your advantage. Obviously, if you're super anxious, if you're really anxious and it's stopping you from doing things, then you do need to ask for help.
Yes.
But if it's a level of anxiety that's just making you, like, stopping you from doing what you want to do or being who you want to be, or like if you have social anxiety, it's stopping you from going out, you can also look...
From traveling.
Yeah, you can look at it in a different way and say, okay, it's going to give me energy now. And okay, maybe I'm not going to go to the Himalayas and walk up them, or go to Nepal, or go somewhere really exotic. But I can maybe
take a trip.
I can take a trip to Brighton, or
which is a little seaside resort in England,
or somewhere near you, and you can use it to your advantage. You can harness it and say, okay, I'm going to...
Take
Anxiety,
small steps.
I'm going to be your friend. I'm
going to harness
you.
Yeah, I'm going to harness you, and I'm going to ride this wave, as to say, this wave.
I think most of us are anxious about things. A lot of us manage to cover it up, and we just don't acknowledge it and don't say it.
Yes,
that's
true.
You just what's it called? Power through it. But I think the more powerful you are is when you
can admit to
it.
Yeah, you can acknowledge it, and you can say, I'm actually feeling really quite anxious about that. And even just verbalizing it and saying it out loud, perhaps to a friend or even to yourself. That can already be step one for those of you who may be suffering from anxiety and may not be even realizing it.
Well, yeah.
But I think if you're not, you're probably aware of it if you're listening to this kind of podcast already.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you can be feeling more anxious about
and just
something.
know that it's normal as well.
Yes.
Like my husband, he's never normally said anything like this. Yesterday he was saying he didn't know where to park because he was going into Rome. He didn't know where to park. He didn't know what train to get. And he was getting quite worked up about it. And I said, you're sounding like me. Are you getting really anxious about this now? And then he started laughing and he goes, yeah, I suppose I am.
I also get anxious about parking and driving into new areas where I don't know and I'm not confident about. That also gives me anxiety, but I acknowledge it and I say, I get anxious about that. And so what I do is I prepare. If I know I've got to drive somewhere which I don't know, I'll study the map. I'll look at it. I'll make sure I get help, with the Google Maps or with whatever app I'm using, and I'll be prepared. But I still do. I get anxiety from it, and I openly say it to everybody.
Yeah, I think acknowledging it, because in the end he said he realised that
it doesn't make me weaker.
It was out of character for him because he doesn't normally do this or say it.
You're right.
So it was completely out of character. So it was curious to notice that he was actually getting more in touch with his own emotions. And
probably because he's being more around you now.
Probably, and he's
spending more time with you now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's learning to be more in touch with his emotions. You can harness your anxiety. You can make it become your friend. There's no reason why you can't. Is there?
Well, I mean, totally your friend. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because that's if you didn't
That's
have
a good way of thinking about it
if you
as
didn't
well.
have
I mean,
anxi-
like the solar panels,
yeah,
yes.
if you didn't have
They're
anxiety,
definitely
you have
friendly.
to think what would replace anxiety.
Creativity,
Yeah.
which would be finding creative solutions to my problem or my what's making me anxious. That would be the solution would be creativity. So I'd want to harness more creativity than feeling anxiety. I'd want to feel more creative, which is what I do when I get anxious. I start thinking, what kind of creative solution can I find for this problem that's giving me anxiety? Sometimes I just get anxiety even at night. You know, when I close my eyes, I start thinking about all the things I've got to do. And I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're immune to this.
No.
We studied it because we felt anxious right at the very beginning of our, of our careers. And that's the reason why we also decided to get into this line of work.
Exactly.
So, and that's very, very common. So I know when I experience anxiety sometimes at night because I start having recurring thoughts. I'll start saying
Those dreaded thoughts.
the dreaded thoughts. I'll start thinking, oh, tomorrow I've got to do that thing. And then I might find a creative solution for it. and then, okay, I found a creative solution for it. And then it'll come back up. So what I do in that case is I say, thank you. I try and relax, take a few deep breaths, say, thank you, brain. I found a creative solution now. I think I can let it go.
Just let it go.
And I take another few deep breaths and I do manage to let it go. What helps me is thinking about the sea waves and the rolling in and gentle rolling out of the waves.
So like your happy place.
I go back to my happy place and I focus a lot on that at night. On the waves rolling in and rolling back out, and I can imagine them and smell the sea smell and the sand on my feet, and that does actually help me.
Doing kind of meditation there.
Yes, I find that helps me once I've found the creative solution, because if I don't, then I'll find myself thinking about it.
Sometimes there isn't a creative solution, so you really do have to say goodbye.
Let
to
go.
That thought and let go.
Yes.
And just say, okay, I'll deal with you in the morning.
Yes. Yes, you have to let it go.
You have to sleep on it, like what they say.
Yes.
You sleep on things, your unconscious mind often finds a solution for you.
Yes.
Without you having to do anything at all.
That is very, very true. And how often has that happened?
Well, I
so
don't
many
think
times.
The saying wouldn't exist if it didn't
No,
happen.
it's
That's why people say sleep on it.
Don't make a decision now. Don't, just leave it for now, and and do something completely different. Distract your mind. Do something else. Watch a film or something that's going to take your mind off it. Obviously, don't watch a film that's going to be about your problem, because I've done that before and that hasn't worked.
No.
Watch something that's going to be light and airy and maybe funny if possible, to give you, that humour that helps. And then, tell your brain, if it keeps on, the questions keep on popping up. I would say
put the thought into the solar panel and allow it to create energy for you for tomorrow.
Excellent. And the solar panel, yes, I agree with that completely. Put the thought into the solar panel. Let it go in there as if it's like brewing, sunshine gathering this lovely energy that will then be able to shine a light in another moment of darkness for you. It will be able to lead the way.
Well, exactly, because there is no light without dark, is there? The dark and the, we need both of them.
We do.
So we do need.
We need the moments of.
We need the moments of anxiety, which also make you reflect. It makes you reflect on your life, and obviously, if you're, like what we said before, if you're suffering from anxiety to the extent that you're having panic attacks and. It's getting
in the way of you living a normal life.
Yes. You need to just get some help, please, because there's so many tools and techniques to help you that are available now, thank goodness. And one of them is, I think the main one is mindfulness. So if anything, go and listen to a guided meditation. We have many of them on our YouTube channel, or to somebody else, anybody you like, that just Google guided meditation and go and listen to one of those, because they really can help you relax and unwind, and your subconscious and unconscious mind will take over, and you don't have to do anything at all. You just have to listen to the voices.
Exactly.
So it's very relaxing.
It's something that can really, really help. Incredibly, actually, yeah.
So, as the song, they've harnessed the anxiety to make loads of money because it's the number one hit.
Yes.
You do that as well, and let us know how you get on. Let us know if you're feeling anxious. We can help you too. If you write to us on give us a text. We can maybe help you in some way, or you can book a session with us if you like on Zoom. We are here to help you, and sending you lots of love and smiles from
From the English sisters.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.